gather that information because we have a broader membership. And then we can, make that available and try and influence vendors.
Thank you.
My name's Katie Baum. I'm very short. I'm from the Chicagoland area, and I am a model player. Hi, Katie. The people before me have been so well spoken, so I feel outclassed. Echoing sentiments before me earlier, I want to say that as we say that we want a all-encompassing, all metal clay, including base and precious metals, and brand neutral. I feel personally that for us to say we want a neutral organization and then attempt anything that strives into a certification program as opposed to an education program would be problematic, because by creating a certification program, you are branding the guild. And it becomes less supportive, and it becomes its own mandate. So I think that could be a slippery slope. There is definitely a need for neutral education and teacher support, and it really, in my opinion, needs to remain not a certification program, because then you have a third-party certification, which in essence simply only competes with the existing branded certifications, but could never have the true support of the manufacturers because they own the programs they would compete against. A component that I think has not been mentioned yet is the idea that this really has the opportunity to be truly multicultural and intercontinental. And I think there is no existing metal clay organization that strives to encompass the global reaches that metal clay has now gotten to. We have representatives here today from so many countries, and every country on North America is represented. But we also have folks here from various countries in Europe and also India. And there is no current group that with open arms can help and assist each one of them to the deep level that I know everyone's hoping for. And to be able to do so with the best idea of the teachers and the students in mind, and neutral of any distributor, no matter where the distributors and importers are located worldwide, could have amazing growth opportunities for the medium.
Do you want to bring them to the mic?
Okay, she's going to listen and talk.
Okay.
Anybody else on something on the purpose or the mission of the organization should be or shouldn't be? Please come up.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Del Monte. I'm from Florida, and this is my first metal clay conference. And I think the new guild should be doing this. This is a great way to get together, share knowledge, community feeling, and this is where you're going to get the best ideas to move forward. So every year, you're going to have a bunch of ideas, and it's going to be, I think this type of event is going to bring
Okay, I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm Lauren Phillips, and I work for Metal Clay Today. And we have been bouncing this whole thing around in our own little circles. And one of the things that we will have to make sure of is that we have the resources, because this is going to be, as she said, multicultural, international, and very, very much need the computer people, the websites. It's going to take a lot of planning, because it can't just be a one group trying to play this and do it. It's going to take every talent that everybody has in order to put this together. This is going to be no, this isn't a he said, she said. This is going to be where everybody's going to have to go like this. So it's going to take your video people, your computer people, it's going to take art graphic artists, it's going to take every cotton picking thing you can think of that's going to need to be layered on top of each other, and a lot of cooperation. This is going to go worldwide. It already is, but I think once we start realizing that this isn't just a medium for polymer clay and jewelry artists, it's also for any multimedia person. So that's my thought.
So we have one last thing. Anybody else on mission purpose?
I know I already spoke. Can I just pose a question?
Anybody else? I think you could add, you could go.
Get out of my turn, Pam. Sorry.
There's a question you have to ask. Do I have to introduce myself again? No. Okay. There's a question you have to ask. I'm hearing two different things going on, and I want to just ask two kind of clarifying questions. One of them is, I hear a lot of, what can the new guild do for me? And the other question is, what can the new guild do to promote metal clay? They are subtly different questions, and they have different answers. So I'm not up here to answer that question per se, but to put that as a seed in your mind. Most professional organizations promote the media and make that their focus, rather than making the focus, what can this organization do for me? But just keep that question in mind while we proceed. That's it.
So for the things that people talked about, the brand-free, professional organization, professional face to the world, marketplace for teachers and students, neutral education support, conferences, promoting metal clay, everything except for certification. Is this room for the most part in agreement on?
Some kind of online publication.
Online publication. But if we take certification off the table, because we had two opposing views, is everyone pretty much in agreement on the rest that we have up here?
Go.
Quick question.
Go to the mic, please.
Karen. I'm probably too new to ask this question. Karen Milligan, and I'm from North Carolina. Karen Milligan from North Carolina. I'm very new to this, but I've worked for many, I volunteer for many nonprofit organizations, and I've also been on the board of directors assembling a nonprofit organization. So my question, I guess, is this group, is the agenda to be a nonprofit that promotes metal clay artists, or is this a nonprofit for education among artists and promoting teachers? To me, they're two different things. One's a media production, and one's an educational process.
I don't know the word yet.
Okay.
I think it's an excellent question. I think it's something that we probably should clarify, but not enough of us even know what the differences are, probably, but it sounds like you might, it's something we have to figure out.
I'm back. I've spent a lot of time investigating the possibilities of organizations and going non-for-profit, and it's actually a kind of an uphill legal battle. This group, in all likelihood, will probably be established for a certain period of time before members can decide on the route to take for non-for-profit, because there are different divisions if you're education-based versus artist-based. And there's also a difference between a non-for-profit organization and an organization who does not make a profit. One is not to retain money from the There's a difference. Because currently, the organizations we have are not money-making entities, though they are not specifically necessarily non-for-profit from the get-go. And for such a multinational group to be non-for-profit is really hairy, because we have to abide by all the rules and regulations of each state involved and country involved, and then province or territory involved. So I might suggest that the whole idea of non-for-profit is tabled in lieu of finding first what we want this to be, and I think the decision will be made for us down the line as it develops and grows, and it's just a little too in its infancy to really go there yet, but I love people to come up here and prove me wrong.
I'm not introducing myself a second time. However, I've been on the board of 3 different national and international nonprofit organizations. I've helped establish their nonprofit status with the federal government. It's tricky, but it's not as difficult as you think it might be. There are a few countries that will be a little dicey, but the 2 that I just resigned from the board for, so I have a life again, basically took in the northern and southern hemisphere of this side of the world. They didn't do Europe, Japan, that side of the world. But they did North and South America, Canada, all of the Central American. And that one worked out fine. That one we didn't have any difficulties with. When we started getting Australia and stuff, that started a little dicey. So there are areas that we would have to work out, but it's not as tricky as it could be. So there are possibilities there.
I think what we're going to do at this point, this has been put up on the chart as, basically we're going to table discussion on whether it's a nonprofit, not-for-profit, for-profit type of organization right now. It's something that needs to be examined in much more detail so that we can look at the pros and cons of each approaches. So what we would like to propose at this point, that we move on, we've talked about this particular area, and we move on to the services area. Now, some of this stuff we may have talked about, so we want to try to add to the list of anything we may not have already addressed. So, hold on, we'll be with you in just a moment.